Well, good morning, everyone. I think we'll get started. I guess it's almost afternoon shortly in about a few minutes, but I want to welcome you. My name is Angie Mandich, and I'm the Associate Dean Undergraduate in the Faculty of Health Science. I want to welcome all our potential students and your family here today. I hope that you have an enjoyable time at Western. You have an opportunity to walk on our beautiful campus and see our recreation facilities. Western is really about the student experience, and so at Western we pride ourselves on a real holistic approach to our students, caring about their academics, but also what goes on outside the classroom, how we train leaders of tomorrow, how we support our students' mental health and wellness on campus, how we allow our students to be involved in all sorts of different clubs and activities on campus. So I welcome you here today specifically to the Faculty of Health Science. I think is the best faculty at Western, not that I'm biased, but we have a School of Health Studies, a School of Kinesiology, and of Nursing, and those are our three undergraduate programs, as well as we have an array of graduate programs that are up on the second floor if you want to see today. I want to introduce you to, because you don't really want to hear from me, Lindsay Fellner, who is our academic counselor in the School of Kinesiology. She's going to talk to you about an overview of the program, and then we're going to have Professor Meisner, who's going to give you a glimpse of what the program in kinesiology is like. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Lindsay.
Hi, everybody. I might have spoken to some of you already today, so if this is repetitive, just bear with me. I'm going to chat with you today a little bit about admission requirements, aspects of the Western Guarantee, and then some sort of basic program information. So first and foremost, how do you get here? When Western is calculating your admissions average, we look at your top 6 U or M level courses, including the prerequisites for the program. So for kinesiology, that's grade 12U English and grade 12U biology. So it's going to be those 2 courses and your next best 4 U or M level credits. We do have some recommended courses. What I mean by a recommended course is that you do not have to have it to get in, but it will better prepare you for the classes that you're going to be taking once you get here. We do recommend that you have a grade 11 or 12 physics course for the biomechanics component of the program. We also recommend a grade 12U math course because you do have to take statistics as part of the program as well. If you are interested in the Bachelor of Science, in particular thinking maybe med school or dental school long term, we also recommend that you have grade 12 chemistry. Now, these courses won't necessarily be included in your top 6 unless they are, in fact, in your top 6. They are simply just recommendations. When you're applying to kinesiology, it's very simple. We are one choice on the OUAC application. You're not applying directly to the Bachelor of Science or directly to the Bachelor of Arts. It's just one choice. Once you get here in first year, then you're going to declare the program that you would like moving into year 2. Rounds of offers go out at 3 times throughout the year, January, March, and May. Make sure you are watching your Student Center and your UWO email regularly. If you're missing any documents for your application, that's where we're going to tell you. You're first going to see the status of your application on your Student Center. I know it's those anxious moments waiting by the mailbox every day after school looking for the big envelope. This will show you first, so make sure you're checking that often. Now, in terms of averages, I can't predict for you what the average will be for next year. What I can do is tell you what it was for this year, and students required an 85% average in order to get in. Okay? All offers that are sent out are conditional in that there will be an average listed in your offer package that you have to maintain by the end of the school year. So make sure you read everything in that offer package and make sure you maintain those grades until the end. In your offer package, there will also be a date by which you have to respond to your offer by. For Ontario high school students, that is June 1st. Now, as a university community, we're required to get our offers out to you by a certain point in May. So you will have all offers in hand by a certain time so that you have time to think on the decision and then let us know by June 1st. Scholars Electives, this is a program for high achieving students, so it does require a 90% average. In this program, you take an extra credit each year. In that extra credit, you are paired one-on-one with a professor from your faculty. So you get to start doing your own research with that faculty member as early as year 2, which is a really unique experience. Oftentimes, students don't get that type of research experience until year 4 or even grad studies. The reason I bring this up is you do have to indicate your interest in this program on your OUAC application. So make sure you just check that box saying, yes, I'm interested in Scholars Electives, and then you have to submit the rest of the supplementary documents through our website. There's also Western Scholars. You do not need to apply to that one ahead of time, but it is another option for high achieving students if you'd like to do something scholarly based outside of the classroom. They have different networking events, social events, some extra scholarship money, and it looks really great on a grad school application or a resume. So keep those in mind. Financial information. So getting to that Western Guarantee, there's a number of different aspects to that, and one of the aspects is financial. Admission scholarships. These scholarships are automatic and unlimited. If you have the marks, you get the money. You do not have to apply to them, but they are based on your final grades. So make sure you're working hard right up until the end of the school year to get as much money as possible. They start at 88% at $1,000, and they go up from there. If you earn a 95% average, your scholarship amount is $2,500, and as long as you maintain an 80% while you're here, you'll get that money each of the 4 years. So that one is continuing for a total of $10,000. Now we also have the National Scholarship Program. Again, this is a program for high achieving students, so it does require a 90% average, as well as a nomination from your school and a short essay. However, the dollar amounts are significantly higher, so it's well worth that little bit of extra effort. These scholarships range from $30,000 to $65,000 over the course of the 4 years, and there is a $30,000 scholarship set aside for a kinesiology student in particular. Now, the deadline for these applications is February 14th, which I'm sure is already marked in your calendar as a very special day. Valentine's Day. If you're thinking about me, you can bring me some chocolate, but also submit these application forms to get those in because it is a lot of money and that's never a bad thing. Bursaries. Bursaries are like scholarships in that you do not have to pay them back. Different than scholarships in that they are based more on need rather than academics. This application should be available by the end of January. The earlier you apply, the earlier you're going to know how much money you're going to receive. So make sure you get those applications in as well. Another aspect to the Western Guarantee is that you are guaranteed the first year classes you need for your program. So without a doubt, you are going to get the classes that you require, so there's no concern there. Western runs a program in the summer called Summer Academic Orientation, and this is a program unique to us. It runs from end of June to sort of early August. You simply sign up for a day online. You're invited to come to campus for the day. In the morning, there's information sessions for both parents and students, so parents are welcome. In the afternoon, kinesiology students come back to our office, and they'll meet with me or the other academic counselor or a member of our staff for a one-on-one counseling appointment. This conversation is critical. We can help you pick your first year classes to give you as many options available to you in your upper years as possible to ensure you're in the correct courses. Once we've picked all of your courses, you'll then go to the computer lab where you actually enroll in all of your courses and make your timetable. So you're going to leave your SAO appointment with your, oh, hello. Is the spotlight on me now? Oh, I didn't bring my dancing shoes. You're going to leave your SAO appointment with your class schedule for September. So you will have a really good idea of what that is going to look like. If you live far enough away, we can do that counseling appointment over the phone as well. I highly recommend that you sign up for the SAO. It really is imperative to be able to have that conversation. Housing. Residence is guaranteed for all incoming first-year students. We have 3 styles of residence: traditional, suite style, and a hybrid style. Traditional style, single or double rooms, more like what you'd expect a residence to look like. Suite style is 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a common area, and a small kitchen within an apartment type setting. And then a hybrid is sort of a combination of the two. Now, like I said, it is guaranteed. However, you do have to make a prepayment of $800 just to let us know that you're interested in that spot, and then we hold that spot for you. Once the prepayment is received by us, we will give you access to the online residence questionnaire. Now, this is a really important piece of information. On this questionnaire, you're going to be able to rank your buildings in order of preference. You can also indicate if you would like to live on a particular floor or in a particular learning community. So for example, there's a kinesiology floor, so if you'd like to live with other kin students, you can study together, walk to classes together, that's an option for you. Now, does everybody have a friend? Okay. Sorry I brought it up. If you happen to find a friend, positivity, between now and June, and you would like to live with them at Western, if you name each other on your residence questionnaire and rank your buildings in the same order, we guarantee that you can live with that person. So that's another guarantee on the residence questionnaire. Now, if we're still struggling in the friendship department come September, we can find some new ones for you. This group might need it, okay? How we do that is we ask you a series of questions on your residence questionnaire, so you let us know about your habits, what you're involved in, and then we try to find you a compatible roommate using all that information. So make sure you fill that out. Just a summary of the Western Guarantee. We have the residence is guaranteed for all incoming first-year students, the admissions scholarships, your first-year courses, and then we try to guarantee for you an extraordinary student experience. And that encompasses everything inside the classroom, out and outside of it. Things like Western scholars, support services, all of that. Helping you succeed. And part of that is why I am here. I am your academic counselor. I'm there to help you pick your courses, guide you along the way, help you when you need it. There's also career counseling opportunities, as well as personal counseling that you can get through support services on campus. We do require that all incoming first-year students meet with us in first term. The reason we like to do this is if there's any questions or concerns, we can really address those right out of the gate so that you have the smoothest transition possible coming from high school into university. And at the very least, you get to come out and hang with me for a few minutes, so that's never a bad thing, right? We do also have some career exploration events for you. We host a career fair. We host some networking events. We have guest speakers come in from a variety of different professions. So we allow you to explore those career options as well, all to help you succeed and be as successful as possible. The kinesiology program, to sort of get into the program information here, we have a bunch of different modules for you. What the heck is a module? An honors specialization is 9 to 11 credits over the course of your senior 15, so over years 2, 3, and 4. A major is 6 to 7 credits. Within kinesiology, we have an honors specialization and a major, both in the Bachelor of Arts. We have an honors specialization in the Bachelor of Science. We have 2 specialized Bachelor of Arts programs in both sport management and fitness and exercise prescription. We also have a dual degree with the Richard Ivey School of Business. So you would spend your first 2 years in kinesiology. Year 3 would be entirely at Ivey, and year 4 and 5 is a combination of the two. At the end of the day, you get your 4-year degree in kinesiology and sport management, and you get your HBA from Ivey. Normally, this would take 6 years. If you did them separately, we can do it in 5 with the dual degree. Choosing BA, BSc, which one is the best fit for you? Now, I mentioned that first year is general, so you don't have to know this coming in. We're going to help you through this whole process, but just to give you some information about the similarities and the differences. All students are going to take 10.5 kin credits. That includes your kinesiology courses from first year and your 9.5 senior courses. Much of the curriculum is similar across the board. anatomy, exercise physiology, biomechanics, athletic injuries, and the list goes on with the similarities. Every student also has to take a half credit in statistics, as I mentioned. Some of the differences. BA students take half a credit of anatomy, and it takes place in our 3D anatotorium. BSc students take a full credit of anatomy, and that is cadaver-based. Both of these anatomy courses happen in year 2, and it's part of your core curriculum. Sociocultural credits. These are things like exercise psych, sports psych, ethics, sport and the law. BA students are required to take 2 full credits from this category. BSc students only have to take 1 full credit from that category, so that would be 2 half courses. Kinesiology electives. BA students have 3.5 kin electives, so those are kin courses of your choosing. BSc students have 1 credit of kin elective. So as you can see, the BSc is a little bit more structured in nature, where the BA is a little bit more flexible. External electives. All students have 5.0 external electives. Now these are courses outside of kin, essentially from almost anywhere else. BA students, they can be whatever they'd like. BSc students, of the 5, 3 of them have to be from a list of science credits or kin science credits. So that's a bit more structured, again, versus the flexibility of the BA. Now, trying to determine which one is the best fit for you, these are some of the questions that we would ask you at an SAO appointment to try to help you make sure you're picking the courses that are going to give you the most success possible. Have you taken multiple U-level sciences in 1 semester and done well in them? Have you had to repeat any of your senior sciences to get marks that you are happy with? Do you want to take biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, either at the first year level or at the senior level? Those are questions that can sort of help guide your decision in terms of which module is the right fit. Another part of the decision is, what do I need long term? Most grad programs, med school, dental school, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, and many others do not give priority to students with a particular degree type. What they do is ask for really high marks. So I always encourage my students to pursue the degree module that you think you're going to be the most successful in. If you're taking chemistry and it's going terribly, why are you going for the BSc? If you're a strong science student, take those science credits because it's going to help your GPA. So we need to make sure that we balance that out versus what you're good at versus what you think you need to be in. That being said, there are some programs that do require a Bachelor of Science. Optometry, veterinary medicine, some athletic therapy programs outside of Ontario. So if you came to me and said, this is what I'm really interested in, Linz, can you help me get there? Absolutely, but it's going to have to be in the Bachelor of Science. So all these things will help play into your decision. First year courses. What is first year going to look like? All students are going to take 2 half courses in kinesiology, 1 in first term, 1 in second term. You also take a full credit of physiology, so that runs the full year, September to April. If you are interested in the Bachelor of Arts or fitness and exercise prescription, your other 3 credits are whatever electives you'd like. So you have a lot of flexibility there. If you're interested in sport management, you also have to take Business 1220, which is the first year business course taught by Ivy. Your remaining 2 courses are, again, elective options. If you're interested in the Bachelor of Science, you do have to take 2 first-year sciences. So the options are biology, chemistry, physics, math, and computer science. So you need to take 1 full credit from 2 of those areas. Alternatively, your 5th credit is, again, an elective option. Here are some sample theory courses that we offer. Again, there's different categories. There's certainly not all of them. We have a ton of breadth within our program, so you can choose different things from exercise nutrition to movement neuroscience to human resources in sport, sport literature, sport and the law, cognitive ergonomics, tons of courses to choose from. Some of these are going to be required of you, and some of them will be part of your kin elective options. What we try to do with our theory courses is take the knowledge and also give you some practical applications in a lab type setting. So for example, you're going to learn how to administer some fitness assessments, or you're going to learn how to treat and prevent common sport injuries. We want you to take the knowledge and learn something hands-on from each of the classes that you're in. Activity courses. Activity courses are a mandatory part of our program in year 2. Typically, you would take 4 of them to add up to 1 full credit. Yes, we have t-shirts that say, I play sports for marks, but it's really fun, right? They can range from basketball, football, aquafit, yoga. There's all sorts to choose from. What we're trying to do with the activity component is not only to encourage exercise and healthy lifestyles, but also to take the theory and apply it as well. For example, second year course that you have to take, biomechanics. In your activity course, you can analyze a jump or a throw or a swing with that biomechanic knowledge that you've learned in your activity course. So we're trying to tie all of these things together to give you a well-rounded experience within the program. Field experience options. This is critical. I highly encourage you to try to get as much hands-on experience as you can. Some courses that we offer, just to give you a few options. Kinesiology 4585. It's a full credit course. The students work as an athletic therapist for one of our 38 varsity teams. It's a really cool opportunity. A lot of my students that are interested in athletic therapy or physical therapy are really keen on this. You attend all the practices, all the games. It's a great opportunity to learn. Field experience in sport management. You get a placement that's related to your field. With the field experience in kinesiology, that's open to all BA students as well. These are both really great because they are half a term. You do them along with your coursework, but you're out there in the industry, whether it be with the London Knights, or you're at the Fowler Sport Medicine Clinic, you're in a chiropractic's office, you're with the Boys and Girls Club, all sorts of options, but you're doing it as part of a coursework. Bioscience Research Project, this is a 4th-year course for BSc students. It's a year-long research project where you're working one-on-one with a professor in a particular area. Great research experience if you're thinking about grad programs. There's also an alternative one to this for BA students, so that exists as well. And then we have our coaching practicum courses. We also have grad programs in coaching, so this is a great lead into that. International experiences. We do have some exchanges within kinesiology. We have 15 partner universities. With these particular schools, it allows you to take kin courses while you're abroad. So they're typically done in 3rd or 4th year for half a term. And like I said, you can take some kin courses while you're there. Through the Western International Exchange Office, they have partnerships with 22 different countries and universities there. Now, these would be more elective-based. So maybe you take your kin courses while you're here at Western and take your elective courses while you're abroad. One year I had a student, she was doing a minor in French, so she did her exchange in Nice. She did all of her French courses there, and we planned it out for her so she could complete all her kin requirements while she was at home. Really cool opportunity. You're paying Western tuition for an international experience. I highly recommend it. Some other courses that are internationally focused. We have the bike trip to France. This is a half-credit activity course. So through the term, you do the academic portion of the course, also practice your cycling. And then in May, you would go to France for approximately 9 days and travel around and cycle with a group of students and faculty members. International Sport Management, this is an online course where you're partnered with students from a host of different international universities. We also have the Global Health Promotion Practicum. This is available to all students in the Faculty of Health Sciences, so health studies, kin, and nursing. And it is a service learning project, so you do your academic work through the school year, and then again, the service learning project is international, and it takes place in May. So lots of ways to get some international experience as incorporated into your undergraduate program. Now, one piece I want to talk about is, it's great, the program is obviously very important, but I highly recommend that you're looking into what sort of community feel is at the school. How can you get involved outside of the classroom? Whether it is athletics, or intramural sports, or clubs. I was in the sandwich club. We ate sandwiches together. and it was wonderful. Oh, and I'm getting a sandwich now. My favorite. Thank you, Stephanie. I won't eat it in front of you guys. But there's lots of ways that you can get involved outside of the classroom. Volunteering is another great one. A lot of these grad programs that you're thinking about are going to have experience profiles as well, so you want to make sure that you're exploring those. Just a few samples that I've listed here that my students have done in the past. Fowler Kennedy Sport Medicine Clinic, we're lucky enough to have them right here on campus. They are internationally known, and they do take a ton of student volunteers, both to assist physiotherapists and kinesiologists, so it gives you some insight into those professions. CERT is the Student Emergency Response Team. This is a group of highly trained students who are often the first responders to any incidences on campus. A lot of my students that are thinking medical school volunteer with this organization. We're lucky enough to have 2 hospitals, one on and one right up the street, so they take volunteers throughout the year as well. The Canadian Centre for Activity and Aging is a center on campus. Not only are there volunteer opportunities, but there's also courses you can take for additional certifications. Kinesiology labs, I often get asked, how do I get to work with a professor? It's often senior students who have taken their classes, have a keen interest in what they're doing, and have approached them. So the professors are here, they're nice, lovely, approachable people, so make sure you get to know them, and they may have opportunities in their labs for volunteers as well. Kinesiology Student Council, great way to show some leadership in the faculty. There's also the Health Science Faculty Council, and then we have the overall Student Council for all of Western. So lots of levels to get involved in. Western Serves is a service learning project that's campus-wide and has a number of different events throughout the year. So if you're looking for that kind of project. And then another important piece is professional exploration. I often have students come to me saying, what can I do with a kin degree? Well, I can say you can do all of these things, but what does that mean? I encourage you to go out and job shadow for a day, volunteer for a week in the summer, see what a physiotherapist actually does, see what a chiro actually does on a day-to-day basis. Explore these options, volunteer, and get out there. Career directions. Again, this follows along the same lines. I often get asked, what can I do with a kin degree? And it's very broad. I have students that are going to med school, dental school, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, audiology, speech path, chiro, osteopathy, naturopathic medicine. They're going to education in a variety of different settings, whether it's high school or continuing on with a master's or a PhD. They're going to college programs and they're doing things like athletic therapy or prosthetic development, pedorthics. There's tons that you can do. So part of that responsibility falls on you guys to do a little bit of research. Now, I know that you don't even know what you want to have for lunch today, let alone what you want to do 4 years from now, or maybe a sandwich, and you do know what you want for lunch like I do. But I encourage you to do some of this research now. Do it early on because you may have to start getting these prerequisite courses in, and that's an important piece that I can help with when we're doing program planning. A big new development is becoming a registered kinesiologist. This is an incredible opportunity that's new as of a couple of years now. Students graduate with their undergraduate degree in kinesiology, obviously. They will apply to the College of Kinesiologists to write the licensing exam. As long as you pass it, you can work as a registered kin. Now, registered kins are working in hospital settings, family health practices, PT clinics. They're working everywhere, and now they have the recognition for it. This is a great opportunity to allow you to get a professional designation without doing any additional schooling. So that's all for me. I'm going to eat my sandwich over there. I'm going to introduce to you Laura. She is one of our faculty members here in the School of Kinesiology, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about the who, the what, the where, the why of our program and what that means for you over the course of the 4 years. Laura? Come on in.
Tempting. We'll let some movement happen. It's just like in my classes. Everybody leaves halfway through. As Lindsay pointed out, I'm a professor in kinesiology. My area of specialization is in sport management, but I'm going to talk more broadly about the program, about what it looks like for you when you're here, and then a little bit of background about me, because when I tell the story of how I got to be here, it's kind of an eye-opener for some of the people around the room who think, oh, that might be me. I see where that path came from. So let's talk a little bit about this concept of what kinesiology is all about. Clearly, you're all interested. You're all here. That's wonderful. It's a wonderful program. I'm going to make the caveat. I didn't go to Western ever. I know. So I can talk about other programs in comparison to this program really well. So I've been to 3 other programs before I was here. But when I ask you what kinesiology actually is, and this is a common question that I get from friends of mine, my family, what's kinesiology? And I give them the standard answer, right? And I'm sure you all know it, taking your exercise science classes in high school. It's the study of human movement, right? We're all moving, bodies in motion, whether it's physical activity, exercise, sport. It's about bodies in motion. But kinesiology, and in particular our program, is much more broad than that. It's much deeper than the concept of just moving. So if we think about what our program's about and the breadth of kinesiology in general, it's things like the physical activity, sport, exercise, workplace movement elements. But it's about psychology, sociology, the biomechanics of movement, anatomy, managing those bodies in motion, history, rehabilitation studies, physiology, leadership. The list could go on and on and on. And that is one of the things that's wonderful about the program we have here at Western is we have that depth and we have that breadth in the program. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about what that actually looks like. So what is life really like here at Western? When you come here and you get to be in one of my classes, what does that actually look like when it sucks that you have to be there at 8:30 in the morning, especially when I teach? I always get 8:30 in the morning. Thank you, Lindsay. Years 1 and 2, you will concentrate on building a foundation. So unlike some of the other programs around that you might go direct entry into a particular area, we feel very strongly about building a solid foundation in kinesiology, in the breadth of those disciplines that I've just explained to you and described. In that way, we can establish a strong foundation for our 4 core areas moving forward into years 2, 3, and 4. The question I always like to ask students when they're thinking about, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go with this? The first question is, what do you like doing? What do you enjoy? No point in getting into something if you don't actually enjoy what you're doing. Clearly, I enjoy what I'm doing because it's Sunday morning and I'm here and not with my family at home. Yes, thank you. But you also have to think about what to excel at. So as Lindsay was talking about, thinking about what I'm really good at, offsetting that a little bit more with what I enjoy is going to help you. So if you think about the 4 core areas of our program, so we have a BSc and a BA. BSc is a limited enrollment program, so I've got lots of students at my door going, I didn't get into anatomy and I really wanted to do those things. You still can do all kinds of things. So if we think about those 4 core areas, biomechanics, anatomy, psychology, physiology, how they interact, so that's your first 2 years, really is getting a foundation of those things. So I'm in the area of sport management, and people say, well, what do I need to take psychology courses if I'm going to go into management? The foundations of management are based on theories of psychology. I often get asked also, why would I need to take the breadth of physiology and anatomy if I want to go into management or sociology? And I rely on a good friend of mine, a colleague that I work with quite closely, who always says, managing bodies in motion without understanding how and why they move is managing those bodies out of context. So if you don't understand the basis of anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, psychology, then you're not going to be doing a good job of some of the other things. So the core of what we have in kinesiology is very, very important. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and how I got to be here, because there are so many possibilities. And at one point, as much as my 5- and 7-year-old don't believe it, I was sitting in your shoes trying to make the decision about where I would go. I was a high-performance gymnast. I was a high-level gymnast. I was a national-level judge and coach. Actually, I was standing out in the hallway going, oh, I think I judged you, a couple of you. So that was my path. And so I was going to go into coaching, right? Obviously, that's what I was going to do. I was going to become a full-time coach. Kinesiology was a logical avenue for that. What a great opportunity. Beyond that, what else did you think I was going to be? Like most of our first years who come in. I'm either going to go to med school or I'm going to be a physiotherapist, right? The most common question that we get asked. And that's wonderful. Kinesiology is a fantastic foundation for those things. But in the program that I was in, I was fortunate enough to actually be able to take a course in sociology of sport and then another course in management and do a placement, an experiential placement at the YMCA. And my eyes went wide open and thought, this is amazing. This is a whole new world I had never thought of before. So you need to be thinking about the opportunity and the possibilities therein. And then I was fortunate to be involved in some management of major events. And so that's where it really took a different turn. Thinking about research. And my research realm is in terms of major sport events. So from being that physiotherapist that I was going to be in a lab, in a clinic, working with athletes, doing all those wonderful things, I took a very different path because I explored the opportunity that those courses had for me. And what that has actually led me to is my current research agenda. I do a lot of work with parasport, disability sport, and sport events. This summer, I took a team of students. I had 16 undergraduate students and 8 graduate students working with me at the Pan American Games. So we spent 10 days on site at the Pan Games doing data collection. What an amazing experience for those graduate students and those undergraduate students who came to work with me. So there's lots of opportunities to do that here. And I think back and think, wow, if I had just kept going along that path and hadn't taken that other course, hadn't tried something else, I would be in a very different place right now. So keep those ideas open. Keep your mind open. That's important. And particularly in this program, there are so many opportunities. Ask. Talk to us about them. And Lindsay already mentioned this, but I think it's a really important point because if you think about what my story was, it wasn't so much about what I learned in the classroom that was important. It was about that experience that I took. And I know all your parents are sitting beside you, nudging you, going, yeah, you have to do that. You got to go try that thing. It's really great. They know, you don't want to listen to them, but they know it is really important. It's sometimes scary to do that, but it's an amazing opportunity. And we've got the athletic injury stream where you get to work with one of our most amazing teachers in the program, Dave Humphreys, on some of the opportunities there. In sport management, Lindsay mentioned a few. I also teach the Introduction to Sport Management course where students work with community organizations from physiotherapy clinics to the YMCA to a rock climbing gym on various projects in management. So they can understand, why if I'm going to be a physio, do I need to know anything about management? And they work with the clinic and go, oh, I actually might have to do some things in that clinic, like administration and managing budgets and marketing. So they learn those particular experiences therein. Physiology and the biomechanics lab has some wonderful things, and if you're lucky enough, Jim Dickey might even show you the robot in his lab. It's pretty cool, and you might get to work with that, so some really great options. And who does not want the t-shirt that says, I do sports for marks? How come I don't have one of those? I need one of those. Yeah, the fantastic options for the activity courses therein. And such a breadth. It's not just sport, physical activity, exercise, wellness programs. Those are what our activity program is really about. And how can you be in kinesiology talking about the body in motion without understanding those things? So in our 3rd and 4th year, it gets exciting. You get to be flexible. And I was going to do a cartwheel. Jess told me I wasn't allowed to do one and show you my splits and stuff to tell you how important it is to be flexible, but apparently I'm not allowed. I have to be professional. In 3rd and 4th year, it opens up. The possibilities are endless. And when I put together the slide to try and think about what can I tell you about 4th year, I put all the courses into a Wordle, and this is what comes out. There are so many different avenues and so many different possibilities in terms of what you could do. Exercise, aging, injuries, strategy, movement, metabolism, international opportunities, athletic therapy, health appraisals, workplace performance evaluations, you name it. The opportunities are endless. In fact, some of the things that have happened in recent years have been pretty exciting. So because I type a lot. Unfortunately, that's what we all do now. I type a lot. I have some issues. So I had one of our fourth-year students come in and do an ergonomic assessment of my workspace as part of their opportunity to look at what could be done. And they've given me all these new guidelines. I've got some great new equipment because of it. Again, the things that can happen in our program are endless. Wonderful placements, wonderful opportunities. Often I get students rushed into my office in their third or their fourth year going, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to graduate soon, and what happens? Relax. You have lots of time. But don't be in a rush to decide too soon. It's the first year students who come in panicked and I think, you've got so much time. You need to take your time. You need to take the opportunity to take some of those courses you never thought you would want to take, because they might just be eye-openers for you. And that's what we can do in this program. Decide what you don't like. Always, that's one of my questions, particularly to my graduate students when we're talking about research. What do you want to do? And they're going, I don't know. Like I said, let's start with what you don't like doing. You know you don't want to. And I love when the undergraduate students who thought they were going to go into medicine come in after and go, God, I hate that cadaver and it's disgusting. Well, then you're not going to be in medicine, are you? So let's think about what you don't like and figure out what you can do. Go out and get that experience. And you know what? Students often think that professors are really scary. I know, I'm extremely scary, extremely intimidating, but get to know us. We are a wonderful resource for you, and we'd be happy to speak with you. Our doors are open. We have wonderful counselors, but the professors are important. The other thing that you need to be thinking about is many of you might want to go on to grad school, and that panicked phone call, that panicked email I get the third week of January going, okay, so I've never actually talked to you and I've never met, but could you write me a letter of reference? Maybe, what, who? So get to know your professors. We can be a lot of help. Maybe we can be scary, some of them very scary, but come in our door and talk to us. And don't be afraid of change. That's the biggest question I get. Yeah, I thought I was going to do med school. I thought I was going to do physio, and now I don't want to, and that's really scary. That's okay. That's the wonderful thing about our program is you get lots of opportunity to decide and lots of opportunity to change directions, and we can help you through that. So it's a really big decision, and I know that, I remember that, but I really think that Western offers you a great opportunity with great breadth, and we're here to answer questions that you have about kinesiology at Western. Thank you. Okay, everybody, we're going to have about 30 minutes for question and answer. Jess is going to run around with the microphone, and then you can ask us any questions you'd like, and hopefully we have the answers.
Just put up your hand and I'll come find you, the first person I see. We'll just wait a second for people to settle so that everybody can hear. Oh, there you are. We'll just wait till people leave. And please stay.
This material will be on the final exam.
So what are your policies on retaken courses?
High school courses?
Yeah.
Yeah. Admissions will use the most recent attempt. Yeah. No problem.
In the brochure, you highlight an individual that has done a kin and an engineering degree. Can you elaborate on whether that's something that's built into the program? Was that something very unique for that individual?
We can make that work for any interested student. It's not a program that's already constructed. We would work more closely with engineering. They're more structured. We're more flexible. So the student would prioritize their engineering courses, and we would work kin around that. It typically is going to take at least 5 years to complete both. Either one is fine. I would argue that they should probably start in engineering because the mandatory courses in engineering are restricted to them, whereas we can be a bit more flexible. If they try to get into engineering later, they're still going to need the high school prereqs anyways. Yeah.
I was wondering how many students were accepted, but I see here, and how big are the classes?
So we intake 325 to 350 students into first year each year. Physiology and the kin courses, all students take those, so there are approximately 400 students with a little bit of space for students outside of kin who would like to take them. Students with their electives, if they take biology, they're taking it with science students, so those are going to be larger classes. In your upper years, the activity credits and the kin courses, because we're a smaller program relative to Western, your activity credits are you and 19 other students. So you get sort of that smaller classroom setting starting right in second year. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
So I noticed there was a kinesiology and music program kind of mixed together. How would that work?
Again, music is a bit more structured than we are. We play really nice with everybody. So you would do, obviously, the music program first. You would have to go through their formal auditions and all of that, and then we would work around that schedule. I have some students who are a kin student first, who are simply doing a minor in music. It doesn't require the same lessons unless you opt into them, and it doesn't require an audition. So that's a good option for our students, is they do the minor in music.
For a student who'd like to keep the doors open to Ivy, what would first year look like?
Mirrored to the sport management module. So the first year kin courses, first year physiology, they don't have to, but they often take the business 1220. And with Ivy, it's more of a requirement over the first 2 years than the first one individually. So over years 1 and 2, you need an 80% average, as well as half of the application is extracurricular activities. So they want to maintain their extracurricular involvement over those first 2 years. And they also want to take Business 2257, which is a second year course. But the first year courses don't have to be any different than anybody else.
And get to know a professor early on, because you need a letter of reference from a professor.
If anyone in the overflow rooms wants to come in and ask a question, there's lots of seats. So this is for the people watching online. So you can come into this room, which is HSB 40, right around the corner, and have questions answered that way.
How many applicants are there?
Oh, I'm not sure. It's a very calculated algorithm of how many offers they send out so that we get our nice 350 round number. The cutoff average was an 85% last year, so regardless of the number of applications, students needed that grade point average to get in. Yeah.
How do you evaluate and value the marks from the IB program?
That I'm not an expert in. I know with the IB program, there is a minimum predicted grade that they will use. They incorporate your extended essay and your theory of knowledge, but you'd want to chat with admissions. There is a team from admissions in the community center, so you can hop on the tour bus, just get off at the community center stop, and admissions will be able to give you more details about that, transfer credits and all those things. Yeah.
Hi. What's your stat for people that do not or do get into the Bachelor of Science? So how many people would apply for that second year, 75 spots? And then if you're unlikely not getting in, is there any way you can repeat your courses in first year because you want to end up with a Bachelor of Science?
Right. Again, I don't know the exact number of people who asked for the BSc on their intent to register. Last year, the cutoff average moving from year 1 to year 2 for the Bachelor of Science was a 78.5, and that was on your first year classes. Now, if a student didn't make it into the Bachelor of Science in year 2, they don't necessarily even have to repeat anything unless it was a core course. They would just improve their average in second year and try again for the BSc in year 3, and they can still graduate on time with careful planning. That's why I'm here. Second year courses can be almost identical with the exception of the anatomy credit. So it's not that much different in year 2. So they just have to simply improve their grades and try again for the BSc the next year.
This is more of a specific question based towards the sports management side of kin. Do you ever get sports management students after they finish their MBA and or their HBA and then their kin degree that want to go into that want to move into law?
Yes, actually we do. Do we still have that? We don't. We used to have a joint sport and law program, but it didn't really make any sense in that respect, because actually you're better to finish your degree here and then go into your law degree. And in the law faculty, there is a number of professors that do specialize in sport law. We have a very strong relationship, and so it's actually an excellent pathway. And there are a number of courses then when you're in kin that we would recommend that you would take if that's the avenue you want to take. And probably come and see one of us early on because we can help you navigate some of that system. But it's definitely a great pathway.
How many hours of class is there for the BSc and the BA, and then about how much homework time would there be for each of those programs?
It doesn't differ whether you're in the BA or the BSc. Some of the BSc courses have lab-based components, which sometimes feels like it requires more, but it doesn't. So lecture time is in-class time for each class, 3 hours per week, plus additional time on top of that, whether it's lab or homework, and it depends on who that is, and it depends on the course. So don't think you're going to get less or more depending on whether you're in the BSc or the BA. It just might be the kind of homework or the kind of work outside the classroom that is needed.
Are there like a certain amount of students that are allowed in the sports management option, or do you take as many students as that want to go?
There is a cap at 40 currently in the sport management option, yes.
Hi. So just to clarify, when you graduate after 4 years, what's the piece of paper that you get? It's called a kinesiology degree, or is it called a BSc? Like, what do you get? What's written on the paper?
Yeah. Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology or Bachelor of Arts in Kinesiology. That's what's written on the paper.
So it's not, because other places, it's an honors Bachelor of Science. So this is not an honors Bachelor of Science.
It is, yes.
But the H isn't.
The H is on.
But the H is associated with your module. So
It's a module-specific association, so it would depend. If you were in one of the honors modules, then you would have the honors bachelor in that program.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
So it would say
Because
a Bachelor of Arts in and honor specialization in kinesiology.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And universities can call their degrees whatever they want. So a BKin, a BA, a BSc, a BPhys Ed, all of those things, the programs could be very similar. They've just titled it differently.
I have a Bachelor of Kinesiology.
Hi. Would you ever take a transfer student in that did their first year elsewhere?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have transfer students that come in all the time. Typically what we'd be looking for, if they did 1 full year at another institution, they then become a university transfer student and their high school marks aren't incorporated any longer. We would look at their high school courses just to make sure they had the prerequisite of biology, but other than that, high school doesn't really have an impact. The transfer average is typically in the high 70s for transfer students, and then we would also evaluate their credits for transfer credits to reduce their load that they would have to do here. Not necessarily. If they had, say they took physiology somewhere else and it was deemed equivalent to ours, they would jump right into, say, second year physiology. Oftentimes, it's the first year kin courses that are a little bit different. So they may take our first year kin courses along with upper year classes to do a little bit of catch up, but could still probably get a certain number of transfer credits. Yeah.
Hi, I just have 2 questions. One, is it possible that someone who enters the first year and doesn't get into the second year specialization not to complete the kin program? Like, as long as they keep coming and doing okay, they're still going to get a degree?
Right. So what happens is, for the BSc, it is limited enrollment. For the BA, as long as you meet the minimum honors requirements, 70% average, no mark less than 60, we have a space for you. So as long as everybody in first year gets that minimum average, we have a home for you. We don't undercut, we don't take less than we let in, anything like that. If a student maybe struggles in first year and their marks aren't quite where they hoped, what they would do is they'd spend second year away from kin, talking to me quite often probably. They can still take kin courses, they can get their marks up, they can do things that are still contributing to their program, get back into kin for year 3 and still graduate on time.
Okay, my second question is with respect to the summertime.
Yeah.
Are there any summer job placements or internship opportunities or anything like that that are organized through the kin department, or are students sort of to do their own thing? And what I mean is like paid work opportunities.
Yeah, they're not organized through the kin department, but that's actually where you would want to tap into work that the professors are doing as well. So for example, in the summer I hired 3 undergraduate students to work directly on a project for me. So those are the opportunities there. There's obviously opportunities on campus as well that connect directly. If you're looking for a specific kin or research opportunity, then connect with one of the professors.
Thank you, first of all, for awesome presentations, very informative on all levels. My question's around, is there weighting with respect to where the courses come from, whether students take that at Blythe Academy or summer school? Is there still full disclosure? What does that look like?
That might be a question better suited for admissions, but my understanding is as long as it's coded as an Ontario curriculum credit, it's weighted in the same way. So if they've taken it from a private institution that they've paid for in the summer or some things like that, as long we see it, it looks exactly the same on a transcript to us.
Going along with that transfer question, say if you were to take kin at Brusha, would you be able to transfer to main campus to say if you wanted to take another
Oh, it's all
program?
the same. It wouldn't be a transfer necessarily because it's just some spaces of the kin program at an affiliate. So transition between the two is very smooth.
Okay, so like say though if you wanted to take another program that's specific to Western, would you be able to transfer from Brusha to Western in second year?
Okay. Absolutely. We like to work him really hard, make him run around. Someone over there has a question, that would be great.
I have 2 questions. If you're in kin and if you're in a module, say like sports management, can you do a minor in another program? Say food nutrition?
You can. The degree structure allows it. It may be hectic in terms of course selection, but certainly we could help with that. Something like foods and nutrition is a bit more complicated because it does require first-year chemistry. Something like psych, where it's simply you take first-year psych and then you can pursue the minor, that's a bit more flexible. Something like foods and nutrition is a bit more complicated, although my final response would be anything is possible.
Okay, thank you. And does admissions look at SHISM, specialist high skills major in health and wellness?
I'm sure there is someone who knows the answer to that.
Okay,
Again, the admission staff is in the University Community Center, so I would pop by there for that. They'll know exactly what you're talking about, I'm sure.
If you apply to kinesiology and health studies, if you're accepted into both,
You would go to kinesiology.
Obvious answer.
some universities only offer you your first choice. Would you get offers from both here at Western?
For Western, I would encourage any student to apply to all the programs they're interested in. You can apply up to 3 different programs. We will give offers to all the programs you are eligible for, so the decision is yours, not ours. So if you get all the offers, then you have a tough decision to make.
In the presentations, we saw a lot of connection to the activities and the athletic part of the program. How is the varsity connection to kinesiology?
Want me to answer that? So traditionally, varsity athletics has been housed inside of the School of Kinesiology, which is inside of the Faculty of Health Sciences. Realizing that being a student athlete is such an important part of the student experience for many, much like being part of the music program is for music students. Athletics is actually transitioning to a new home on campus, which is through the Office of Student Life. I believe that's what it's called, or student experience. Nothing will change, really. Those connections won't change, but where it's physically housed will change, but nothing would really would notice different. So it's an interesting, timely question that way.
It's partly administrative in many respects. In terms of the connections we have quite a few connections through courses. Professors work directly with many of the coaches and in terms of labs and those kinds of things. So those connections will all remain the same.
Hi. Is the application process strictly based on marks, or is there also a supplementary written around experiences? Sort of
For the most part, it is grades. That would be what is submitted through OUAC. We do have 2 profiles on our website, one for special consideration. So if you were sick and you missed 3 weeks of class and your marks weren't where you'd hope they would be, or extracurricular profile as well. So if you're highly involved in things outside of the classroom, those are done through our website. And I believe the deadline is sometime in March, early March. So that would give you that opportunity to submit something a little bit extra, but nothing that's mandatory, just optional.
One more admissions question. If a student, grade 12, applies for the 2016-17 year and they don't get in, are they prejudiced from applying, like going back to high school and then applying the next year, upgrading? Like, is there any
Absolutely
recognition
not.
for, oh, they didn't get in once, so
No.
it's just you're applying like
Fresh
a brand new
start.
student?
Yeah.
Is there anybody on this side? Jeez.
Faster, faster.
Sorry. I was just wondering, do you have the co-op program? A co-op program? No?
We do not.
Okay.
Like I said, there's lots of ways to get hands-on experience. Many of our second, third, and fourth year courses have labs associated with them that have practical applications. The fourth year courses that are field experiences or hands-on, that's where you're going to get that hands-on piece, not from a traditional co-op.
How do your concurrent degrees work, and what do you graduate with?
Which one?
Like nursing.
Nursing, you would graduate with both. So it would be, again, nursing would tell you when you have to take their courses, and we would work around that. So you would graduate with both your nursing degree and probably a 3-year major in kin.
And then how do you apply to it?
You would apply to both programs. Again, you can start in either one, although the nursing first year is going to be a bit more structured, but either one would be fine. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
In regards to the activity courses, what years are they in? Are they spread out, or are they all in one year? And I myself, as much as I do love kin, I like getting my knee surgery for the second time, so it might be a bit difficult for me to actually participate in the sports. And I know they're weighted in your marks, so how would that work?
Totally. Activities are mandatory in year 2, optional in year 3. Certainly with medical documentation, we can work with you. We can make sure that you're in aquafit or yoga or something that's better suited to your injury. If there's really nothing that can be done, we would simply replace those courses with theory courses. So certainly don't think that you have to. We wouldn't want you to further injure yourself, but we can work with you to make sure you get what you need.
I was just wondering what's the difference between the kin program at Brescia and the kin program at the main campus?
Nothing. Only females can apply to Brescia. So that's one. They have a handful of spaces at Brescia. The main difference between the programs is that if you accept Brescia, you have to do a double major with another major that Brescia offers. On the main campus, you can do a double major with anything you'd like. You can do the honor specialization. So that would be the core difference. Also, where you would be living in first year, you'd live at Brescia versus the main campus. But program-wise, it would be that you have to do the double major with another major at Brescia.
Way back here.
So you said the minimum average to graduate with a BA was 70%. What about a Bachelor of Science?
So the minimum average was not to graduate with the BA, it was to move from year 1 to year 2 into the Bachelor of Arts. It was a 70% average with no mark less than 60. Last year for the BSc, that was a 78.5% moving from year 1 to year 2.
The minimum for the scholarship was 80.
88.
And is that on your first attempt or second if you upgrade, or does it matter?
It's the same average they use for admissions purposes. So if a student has repeated a course, they will take their most recent attempt in their admissions average and include the English and the bio. So that average is the same average we would use for admissions scholarships. And it's based on final grades.
For the Bachelor of Science, only 75 students get enrolled in second year? Okay.
Yes.
And Lindsay, perhaps maybe touch on why, again, why that's only
Yeah.
75.
The limit is based on the fact that you have to take cadaver anatomy, and there's only a certain amount of resources and room in that particular lab. So that's where the limit comes from, is from the cadaver anatomy course.
So, do you keep track of, or do you have statistics on graduate students on skin, not going into postgraduate, but their marketability for if you graduate with a kin degree from Western, at least for the first year after they graduate?
No.
We do, in the honors specialization in sport management, actually track our graduates from the program to where they go. Quite a few do go into postgraduate programs, but if you go on the sport management website, which is under kinesiology, we have a listing of where our graduates actually are and are working at, and we have quite a high placement rate in the field. Field being quite broad because of what their training has been. But quite a high spring. I can't tell you exactly what the stat is, but we do have that information. And you track that, don't you?
And part of my role in the faculty is to tell those success stories. We only know the ones we know. We only know the ones that connect back with us. So having a 100% rate of we know where everyone is pretty much impossible. There were people doing tons of different things. We have someone in that book doing amusement park things and all sorts of different things. So it's really tough to have that number.
What type of occupations would you take a Bachelor of Arts, and what type of occupations would you want to go to if you take the Bachelor of Science?
It actually doesn't really matter. I think you're asking a question, should I take the BA versus the BSc, depending on the direction I want to go. To be honest, it doesn't really make that much of a difference in the long run. As Lindsay pointed out, there are a couple of graduate programs that require a BSc, but beyond that, whether you have a BSc or a BA isn't making a lot of difference. You can actually take a lot of the same courses in the BA as the BSc, you just wouldn't be taking that cadaver anatomy. So that would be I think students sometimes are put off. There's only 75, and then I do a BA, and I'm not going to get where I want to go. You can get to the same place either way.
Okay, so they're both just as versatile and
Absolutely,
useful?
unless you want to go into optometry or veterinary medicine, apparently. Was that right?
How easy is it to switch from BA to BSc, or the other way around if you want to switch? Like if you want to transfer, if you change your mind.
In first year, if you came to me and said, I'm not sure, what I would talk to you about is selecting your first year courses so that the BSc is an option. Moving into year 2, if you're still not sure, but you're eligible for the Bachelor of Science, I would say go that route. It's much easier to switch out of the BSc going into year 3 than it would be to switch in.
If you apply to the Scholars Elective, was it? And you don't make it, does that affect your just general application into Kines?
They are mutually exclusive. Yeah. So your offers would be separate as well. Yeah.
If you apply to kinesiology and you want to do the compressed nursing, so you would apply to kinesiology and nursing, and do you get if you get accepted into both, you can do the compressed?
So the compressed nursing program requires that you have 2 years of university. So when you're applying now out of high school, you would simply be applying to the program you want to do for those first few years. I have many students who are planning to apply compressed timeframe nursing. They're in year 3, so we select their courses so that if they do get into compressed timeframe nursing, we quickly change their status to a 3-year major. Then they go on to the 19-month program in nursing, and they get that degree as well. So you're not applying to compressed timeframe out of high school. You would apply to it once you've completed at least 2 years of university work.
All right, we'll make this one the last one so we can wrap up.
How many people usually apply to the kinesiology program?
As I mentioned earlier, I don't know the specific number of applications that we get, and it's not really an important piece of information. All you need to know is the potential cutoff average. So last year it was an 85, the year before that it was an 84.5, the year before that it was an 85.5. So it's been around that area historically. So regardless of how many people applied last year, if you had an 85%, you got an offer. Well, thank you everyone for coming. I will be out there if you have any further questions also. So please enjoy the rest of the day.